Oh no. Oh no. Oh, so TAS will actually intervene at that sort of speed. If it was like, no, you're going way too fast. Oh, I see. Well, I've learned something new today. Hello there guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, QwertyAfro. Welcome back. As I've said, videos are hopefully going to become a sort of regularity kind of thing on the channel. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing so far. I don't know where this video is slotting in into the sort of ordering that I'm doing. I'm being very sort of old school and clinical in terms of how I attack with recording. To be honest, having this new PC as well is actually just fantastic as well. It eats through producing and recording, and just playing everything is just such a breeze now because it just handles everything, and it's just so easy to sort of kind of like edit things really quickly, render things really quickly. A sort of example or just the kind of thing we're talking about here is that I can render a 2K video whilst also playing another game like say Genshin Impact, which yes, I'm currently a Genshin Impact player. I don't know if anyone cares about that, but just to throw that bit of information out there as well. You can judge if you want to, but all our gaming journeys are very different. But I'm still true here with Train Sim Classic, as it should be. Now it's named Classic. Finally, something I've been knocking on the head like for the longest time that I've been playing this game, even back when it was 2014 or 2013 or 2015, whatever it was. I was saying like, look, this game does not need to be dragged out like this in the sort of model just for marketing to be just, you know, another year, another number just chucked in at the end of it just to make it seem like it's a new game. It's really good that we've gotten to a place now that it's just called Classic. It's sort of standardized. It means the game will still be supported. DLC and content will be made for it. It seems that Dovetail don't want to stop, which is great because this is its own sort of ecosystem and it's doing very well. And it still has a lot of dedicated players, even more so than what Train Sim World is pulling in. And now with Train Sim World 3, you can see already they're sort of adding the numbers onto that game. That's more to leave in the realms of Train Sim World. Obviously, I'm in now Train Simulator Classic. I kind of want to stick with the sort of Classic and what I'm doing with today. Now, I've not played anything really since the last time in terms of actually going and playing this game actively, because I had to do a huge migration of this directory file from my old PC to the new PC, which was kind of fun, kind of sort of semi-worked, semi-didn't work. It just means I have to kind of install extra things every time. Say if I want to play something like now, I think I install like the 350 sound pack and some of the weather enhancements from Armstrong Powerhouse and I think a few other things. But other than that, all the sort of old routes that I had and trains and all my DLCs are all there. But yeah, it's gonna be another build up of when you have a directory over like 200-300 gigabytes. It's, you know, it's a damn big game. But we're here. I'm going to be in the return of a Train Sim Classic video. I thought, what could I do? This was actually a route, the West Coast Mainline South, that actually came out. I think it was still during the time of Train Sim Simulator 2022, but I just didn't, I think that time I wasn't making a video, so I wasn't really playing the game, so I didn't cover it, or I didn't even play it myself. I've not played on this route. I've not played on the Avanti West Coast Liveried Class 390 Pentadino, but I thought it would be a really nice sort of like, you know, route to kind of get into the swing of things with Train Sim Classic. It's just, and also it's one of the routes that comes with the actual Train Sim Classic sort of repackaged game or whatever. So it'd be a nice one for me to have like a sort of first look and a kind of first get at and kind of come back with Train Simulator Classic. The scenario I'm doing today is a workshop scenario. I do believe it's by jbfried on the workshop on Steam. I'll leave a link down below if you want to try it out. It's called Dealing with Delays. I do believe there's like 2 or 3 parts to this. So if this first part is anything interesting and actually like worthwhile, then I might consider at some point in the future, if I'm in the sort of swing of actually regularly recording, I could even just knock that out and do the whole sort of series if you guys want me to, and if it's actually a decent sort of scenario series to do, I do not mind. But yeah, I didn't want to do any of the career scenarios. I wanted to just see, and this was one of the highest sort of kind of rated sort of West Coast Mainline South scenarios on the workshop. So it's train 1 Bravo 24, express weekend service to Euston, London, or said as London Euston, via the West Coast Main Line, stopping at Birmingham International, Coventry and Rugby before running non-stop to London. This is a line actually I know very well in real life in terms of using it as a passenger. I do quite a lot of trips up to like Coventry and Leamington Spa, and even a bit of like Banbury and Bicester. So I'm either on the West Coast Main Line up to Cov, or on the Chiltern Main Line, Grand Central Railway, if that's the old historic name for it, up to, you know, Leamington Spa or whatever. So sometimes it's either the fast tilting 125 mph Pendolino, or it's a diesel multiple unit, normally a 168, maybe unfortunately if it is a 165. And then sometimes when it's, you know, if I time it right, I get the local haul service with the Class 68s and the Mark III carriages. Yes, the Mark III carriages. Really nice to go on that. I definitely recommend if you ever go on the Chiltern Main Line and you're going from like Birmingham or whatever, Banbury, Leamington, Kidminster, whatever, use the Chiltern Main Line's local haul service. You will not regret it. So let's start this scenario and let's get going. And we are in the Class 390 Pendolino. Again, one of the kind of trains back in the day that are like, I completely like, I can't remember the last time I did a video on it. Driver vigilance device is now active, alarms are now audible in external view. That is perfect, we'd love to hear that. Due to earlier delays caused by network rail maintenance, our scheduled 1300 departure from Birmingham has been delayed until 1303. We will be running behind a stopping service on our first leg to Birmingham International. Be prepared for reduced speed. We will pass this stopper after Birmingham International stop. Open the doors to allow boarding. Close this window if you want to scroll down, or scroll down for a hint, or like because I'm playing this game right now in like 1440p 2K basically. So I think everything is maybe a bit stretched out. So normally if I was playing in 1080, probably I would have to scroll down, but it's all visible on this resolution. So between New Street and Birmingham International, we'll be running behind a stopping service that will make several stops. To avoid having to come to a complete stop, drive at a maximum speed of about 50 miles per hour. Now, this is actually a really interesting hint, and me as a train driver in real life, I can vouch for this hint in terms of like if maybe even the creator didn't know about this, but they obviously figured it out like in terms of the timings. But when you're doing like an ECS sort of move, or if you're running say fast between something and you're going like, you know, coming up to a stopping service ahead of you, 45 50 miles per hour is a really nice sweet spot, I find, in all the sort of ECS sort of like workings I've done, where I've like been taking units from like a depot swap or whatever, a unit swap to another depot, or taking a unit out of service to the sidings after like a peak service or whatever. And when you're running fast on the slow lines, genuinely, if you run at line speed, which you can do, there's no rule against it, but you will catch up to whatever's in front of you, and you will be then just basically chasing signals. And obviously that's a lot more riskier driving, but if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Just obviously you're going to be braking more. But if you hit that sort of 45 50 mile per hour coasting speed, generally, I mean, this, like, obviously if you literally just followed a train that's just a part of the platform that you've just like passed, obviously you're going to hit, you know, at 50 45. But generally, if there's normally there's a bit of a gap in places, 45 50 mile per hour is a nice speed to coast at without actually catching up to the train. So that's the brief there. Let's get this 390. Actually, let's open the doors. That would be good to do first, even though technically Avanti drivers wouldn't open the doors. This would be all a train manager's sort of responsibility. Right, I do believe does task come on now, I think? Yeah. Or the tilting operation kind of thing. I don't know anything about this system in the 390. Because obviously it's very traction specific. Can we get, is that day? That's day. Okay, perfect. And I think we can get the instrument lights on. And I do believe that's it, really, for us. I don't think there's much more. Our train is nicely set up, and I have to say, it is always... Pillar, get out of my way. It is always a lovely sight, and always a pleasure to take a screenshot of a Class 390. Did something shut off? Like I heard a weird audio cue, but I'm guessing no. So as I said, our run today, we're doing Birmingham, obviously sign up Birmingham New Street, Birmingham International, Coventry, Rugby, and then essentially London Euston. So it's actually sort of like a real life service. Like there are Avanti trains that actually terminate at Birmingham New Street, or go via Birmingham New Street, maybe I think up to Wolverton, and then maybe even beyond. You can go past Wolverton beyond like Liverpool, but I think normally their services kind of go up and they go kind of like divert round Birmingham and kind of go towards the, what's it, the Trent Valley line normally, I think. I don't know the service pattern of, you know, Avanti services or ex-Virgin services, but we have the Voyagers as well, and they're sort of dressed up Avanti interim livery. There we go, a little beep from a little two-tone from on the bell from the train manager. Give it back to acknowledge. Perfect. And now we can... Well, notch one will not do anything, as is the case with this 390. It's very much... To be honest, notch one, yeah, it's just a bit of like a dead notch, really. It still speeds up in actually notch one, so it's probably like a shunting power level, but with this game, it's still from like back in the day, you put it up into like a powered notch where it starts moving, and then you move it into notch one, then notch one starts working, so that's something that's obviously not changed. So we've got the tilt enabled. It's been such a long while since I've actually driven one of these 390s. And I have to say, the game in like 2K, I have to say, it looks fantastic. Like, if you don't know what my PC is currently, it's essentially, it's a bit overkill. It's AMD Ryzen 5 900X 5900X CPU, and then the graphics card is a AMD as well. It is a 6900 XT. So I've got a lot of horsepower, but I have to say, one of the like things that I'm loving about it now, when I'm just sort of like getting back into sort of YouTubing and content creation, because I sort of built the PC with in mind that if I ever went back to sort of like content creation, it needs to be like a super like workhorse kind of like station that I can basically edit, render, play games at the same time, stream, whatever, blah blah, if in case I needed it. And essentially, as a gaming PC, it's overkill, but for actual like video production and rendering and all that kind of jazz, it's perfect. Like, essentially, I can what can I do? I can render a 2K video and still have another game on. Say like what did I do the other day when I was recording another video? I recorded a video, started rendering it in 2K, and then just played Genshin Impact. And yes, I'm a Genshin player. I don't know if I already said that. I've done two recordings of this start. So if I do repeat something, I do apologize, because I did want to throw that in there. Nice bit of freight, actually. I've never been into New Street in a... I don't think in real life I've ever actually been into New Street in a Pendolino. I've been... I think when London Midland was still around, I think it's like a local service to Warsaw, I think. But I've never done, like, you know, from the south, from London, up into Birmingham New Street. But this is looking nice, I have to say. Definitely the game looks a lot like this FOV now that I see of the cab. I can literally see everything in such nice detail. I don't know how it comes out on the video, because obviously with like the bit rates that YouTube has, I've kind of uploaded, I probably uploaded it to the best sort of bit rate that I can for YouTube, and the kind of sort of recommended for like a 2K video. So hopefully, if any of you have a 2K monitor and want to take advantage of the sort of quality, switch it up onto 2K and enjoy. But if you have 1080, that's still fine. You'll just downscale it. But this is sort of like quality I can now sort of produce with my videos. I can do like 2K video, 2K kind of like quality videos, which is nice. It's all stable. It's all really juicy and smooth. And but then there are some videos that I'm not gonna record in 2K. It's mainly like if the game itself has a native resolution that I can play at 2K, which Train Sim Classic does, has a 1440p resolution, and like something like Train Sim World has a 1440p resolution. But then there's some games like, you know, Stepford County Railway, SCR, on Roblox that I'm not gonna render a 2K video for Roblox. You know, I'm not that crazy. Like, who wants to watch what's even point of watching a 2K video of Roblox? I don't think there's any sort of benefit. The game, even if the game did run in 2K, it still looks like it's 480p all the time. But then again, I digress. Like in Stepford County Railway, when I played it, it looks really nice and smooth. And if you do have the sort of settings on the sort of high render distance and stuff like that, and the bloom or the ambient inclusion or whatever, it's actually quite like a nice looking game, you know, with the sort of good modeled trains and the detail of the stations. But as the hint suggested, I am gonna sort of coast at about 50, because there's no point. We're gonna catch up this service, this stopping service. So this is what I would do in real life. I would just, you know, get up to 50 and happy days. It doesn't look that exciting yet now. But anyway, we're not even on the sort of part of the route which obviously these sort of like trains take benefit of with the tilting system. And one thing I was actually trying to do for this video is I'm trying to get also the Class 390, like a sound pack for the Class 390, which I know there is one on Armstrong Powerhouse, but then when I looked at it, apparently it doesn't work with the old school 390 DTG 390, but it works with another DTG 3. There was two versions of the 390, and I think it was to do with that whole sort of Virgin kind of copyright thing, where when Dovetail released, I don't know, was it no, it was Trent Valley. I think it was Trent Valley. They released Trent Valley with the Virgin Train sort of branding. And it was happy days back then when it was Virgin Trains. Virgin were very like, you know, yeah, use the branding, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously when they went sort of down under and their franchise got stripped off them, and they went to First Group, Trenitalia for this Avanti West Coast franchise, which also I think will be tied to the High Speed 2 franchise as well. I think Virgin basically had a little fit with anyone else that's kind of using their sort of brand. Even though they don't really exist anymore, they had to basically, you know, had to be taken off, stripped off everyone else. We'll go for a neutral section. I think I heard a little clunk there of the circuit breaker. Would it be a vacuum circuit breaker, line circuit breaker that kind of goes off? But yeah, so Virgin had their little fit, and obviously I think that means that meant that Dovetail had to pull that version of the 390. So essentially, when I do believe I'm wrong, I don't know, someone might correct me in the comments, but I think it was that it became redundant, that 390 that came with the Trent Valley. That was the Virgin Trains Dovetail Games 390, and then obviously there was the original 390 in that sort of old school, what was it, like British, was it a British Rail or West Coast British Rail livery, or just some, was it a fictional livery? Yeah, it definitely had to be a fictional livery. I've never seen a 390 in that sort of livery. You know, the old school one I'm talking about, that's on Steam, that you can still get. But that one is not compatible with the sound pack, which is it's a bit annoying, isn't it? But then I guess this 390 sounds decent enough. Like, you know, I've been in far worse. You know, I don't even know how many videos I've done of train sim. You know, I've done enough to have heard far worse than this, and I'm definitely enjoying my view of the nice cab, nice surround cab. And another one of these kind of things with these cabs is slightly, like, some cabs now, some of these are sort of modern cabs, like say a good example is the Class 700. The driver sits in the center of the windscreen, but then some of these sort of older ones, and even some of the new ones, like the trains I drive, the Class 345s, it might look like we're actually sitting in the middle, but we're not. We're actually slightly sitting to the left, similar to this, where but on this it kind of makes more sense, because obviously you need a sort of second man side for a driving instructor to sit and have a good view out as well. So that's why it's kind of sort of offset. And obviously all the sort of older school sort of traction with like inter gangway doors, like here the 350, everything's obviously, you know, drivers sat to the left. So I guess all the sort of designs, even with these sort of intercity stock, kind of just have it that even though it's just one big, you know, wide windscreen, everything's gonna still offset to the sort of left for the driver in terms of the driver's sort of perspective. But then I think you do have, like, yeah, the 700 is bang in the middle. I think the 800s, the Hitachi 800 IEPs, I think they're sort of dead on middle as well. I think, or they might be slightly, I think they might be slightly left. And same with the Voyagers, they're slightly off-centered to the left. Which, I don't know, like, I tried, like, sometimes, like, when I'm at work, I try to think about, like, does it really matter if I'm sat in the middle or if I'm sat to the sort of left? And obviously I've driven older stock, like, Class 315s, PEPs, or whatever, you know, old school sort of, like, abbreviation that they're known by. Like, where I'm sitting completely to the left, I've driven Class 360s without the inter gangway doors, and those are even as well offset to the left, kind of similar to like a networker cab. So it's most tractions in the UK, just kind of that sort of traditional sense. It's essentially everything offset to the left, and now sort of these more modern ones, well, are kind of trying that sort of center kind of position and design, which I think you see more kind of like in Europe with some of the sort of like intercity or more sort of regional trains, like the ones where, like, say, some of the double-decker, even some of the locos as well. Like, I do believe in like the 68 locos, Stadler or Voslov, I think they're called Voslov, or used to be Voslov, and then Stadler acquired it. But I think they're like centered in the sort of middle, so I'm not too sure about that. But give me your opinion down below in terms of, you find, like, in sort of like there's obviously the 700s available to play in Train Sim Classic. That's another thing I need to at some point do a video of, because I know that would be something interesting to do. That's been like one of those kind of like tractions that everyone wanted in the game, and it finally came in the game, and I'll get around to it. There's a lot of things for me to do, and it's also like with the channel currently, I want to try out some other stuff. I want to, you know, try out some other games, and and, you know, still stay to the core with like anything sort of like more train related, but we can kind of branch out to other sort of kind of like transport or simulator sort of things. And I'm going to start braking. How many notches does this have? I'm going to go to notch 4. That's quite a lot of notches. There's 6 notches of brake here, and I think I could have left it in 2. I think I was at a good enough distance there. I'll just coast in here at, I think, you know, just under 30 miles per hour. That's sort of the genuine training or kind of teaching method, or just a sort of general, like, it's not a kind of golden rule, but like most places prefer like you hit the platform at 30 miles per hour to control the speed down. You could do slightly less, you could do slightly more. It just depends on the braking of the actual unit itself and whatever a driver's comfortable with. Right, and also it seems that we didn't really, I don't think we catched up to that slow service, which I guess is a good thing. I think I did let it slow down a little too much. Maybe I could have like, oh, but anyway, the stopping service is right there on the other platform. Well, no, that's an Avanti service. Then surely that is still ahead of us. Now, I think, how many carriages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess. Oh no, I actually have to go to the 9/11 car. That's fine. Yeah, you hear that? The traction just like cuts out like randomly. That's fine though. I'm just gonna stop it anywhere here. Fine. Like on the PIS of the doors, even though it's saying a special service. Sure we are with QwertyAfro at the helm. And also, why is the vigilance device going off in... Why is it going off while I'm in sort of like the outs, like I'm not moving, you know what I mean? That's really good. We should be clear into Coventry. Our original schedule has us arrive at Coventry at 13:21. It is unlikely that we'll make up this time. Make sure to wait for the doors to be fully closed and locked before departure. Yes, we can do that, and I will take a screenshot as well, because why not? I don't know what my thoughts are with the Avanti livery. I'm very conflicted because for me the Virgin Trains livery was a very good livery, especially the old checkered doors, the silver. I've talked about this before. It's not a new opinion. I just realised that we were actually 007. Nice. And that horn sounds absolutely horrible. There we go. That sort of felt like it was kind of a very long sort of stint. That's fine. And I do believe now we can really like start opening the tap. As I'm pretty sure I'm assuming it was a 350 sort of London Midland stopping service, but it could have been actually another Avanti one, which then that makes sense why there's another Avanti kind of thing in the platform there, Birmingham International. Is that it? Notch 4? I think, yeah, notch 4. It's always bizarre seeing the sort of differences in terms of like the power notches in different tractions, because there's somewhere like there's barely any power notches. Then there's some tractions where you have so many different power levels and very minimal braking levels. I think obviously now with modern tractions as well, there's a huge thing of like notchless, but obviously more old school, more sort of old school traction had like obviously brake step 1, brake step 2, that kind of thing. About to say, this is a very stable experience for me with train sim. I think I'm not on the fullest, I don't think I'm on the fullest render distance. I think I'm on just shy of full render distance. It seems to be working fine. This CPU, like this game is CPU intensive. I don't think my graphics card is probably doing anything. It's probably, you know, the fans are probably not even spinning right now. But my CPU is probably working like, you know, great, but it has obviously like, I think it has 12 cores or whatever, so hopefully it's chewing away at train sim. Shouldn't be a massive issue. Another thing that kind of maybe kind of brings up the conversation or topic of conversation is if I have a good CPU now, why can't I do maybe a bit of I don't know, OMSI, God forbid. But we'll see. OMSI is definitely not a like priority right now on the channel, but I will never say never. Because obviously I did have a promise that like if OMSI London came out, which it obviously has been out now for quite some time, that I would get back into the swing of things with OMSI. And maybe now with a sort of better PC and probably maybe that game might run sort of semi-decently well on this rig that I have. Potentially. There is a potential there. There is a potential there. I should slow down there for 100, and we're passing Berkswell. There's a nice little shunt spur or whatever. I think there's a very good cab ride video I think on YouTube on a London Midland 350 that goes between I think like Coventry and Birmingham New Street. It's a very good little watch if anyone's interested. I think you just search like Coventry to Birmingham New Street cab view ride or whatever. But we can start powering up a little bit more to kind of get back to the sort of 110 mile per hour realm. Obviously this is not the faster speed that we're going to achieve today. Oh, so we get nice little warnings. Yeah, maintain 100 miles per hour, and now I can go up to 110, which should be nice. But one thing I find interesting with so in terms of like the future for Avanti with their new trains, like obviously getting Hitachi 803s or 805s, I think they're having a sort of subdivision for them specifically, because I think they're going to have like 5 cars, 7 cars, and actually no, I think they're just going to have either 5 or 7 cars. I don't think they're going to have like 9 cars. But obviously they're not going to be built with tilt, so I don't understand how the route can be all of a sudden like driven with non-tilting trains. So obviously they've done probably a lot of work to the actual track where they've superimposed the track enough where non-tilting trains could technically go to 125 miles per hour, or will those trains have to be capped at 110? This is something that we'll see. I'm sure loads of people want to know. And how would that even feel? Like, say if you're going 125 miles per hour around a bend where you would normally like feel a bit of tilting in the Super Voyagers or in the Pendolino, and then you just go past that same bend in a 800, and let's be honest, the 800s at that sort of speed the 800s at sort of 125 mile per hour speeds are not the best, let's say. And I think I should start braking, I hope. I did see Coventry just like pop up there, and I thought, ooh, maybe this does call for a bit of braking now. So there should be some sidings on the left, and then there should be like a long car park or whatever. And I think we should be about good. I'm using a fair chunk of brake, not excessive. There we go, that's nice, perfect. But honestly, driving a train in real life is so different. Like, it's all about feel. Like, you can drive, you know, in a simulator really well. I will, like, if I really tried, I could drive really perfectly in a simulator, but it's not the same. It really is not the same, like, driving in real life. It's all about feel. It really just is all about feel. So right now, like, I don't feel anything. Obviously, I'm going faster than I am, but I should be able to stop before the signal. At least that's a good aim there. Perfect. Good. But that's like, in essentially, like, coming down to like a lower speed, you really do feel like the weight of the train, and you feel like, oh, it needs a bit more. It needs a, you know, doesn't need as much brake. But in a simulator, like when you're playing a train game, it just, like, you're at 15 miles per hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, and even sometimes you might be at even lower speed, or 10 or even 5, and then you realize, oh wait, it's like, it's also like the depth. It's the depth perception and the sort of like distance perception in a game is just obviously throws you off a little bit. We are due into rugby at 13:34. We should stay clear until nearing the station. You should be able to arrive at scheduled time. Good, yeah. Wait, so were we on time for that? No, probably not. It did say that we would that we wouldn't make it. Oh, this Coventry Station's completely been actually revamped, actually, now when I look at it from the outside. This station still looks sort of similar, but there's a whole like new like complex and entrance on one side with a new kind of like car park and access to the other main road. And this branch, I do believe, goes to Leamington. I think it stops being electrified after like a point, because obviously down at Leamington, Warwick, that's all non-electrified. So yeah, I wonder if that will actually, no, technically, would there be a merger out there for the West Coast Mainline South and the sort of like, does the Chiltern Mainline go all the way up to like does it go all the way up to Birmingham? Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, it goes up to Moore Street. Maybe there's a little merger for that bit of the route. I'm not too sure. See, these are the kind of stuff. I know there's a lot of different sort of freeware kind of add-ons and routes for the game available, like at places like say AlanThompsonSim.com and loads of other sort of like freeware stuff. Even on the workshop, there's loads of like other sort of routes and stuff that I've not even I've seen. I've like just quickly skimmed and seen. There's like, you know, stuff like the West Anglian Main Line, etc. And there's going to be a lot of stuff for me to actually just get back into and, you know, do videos off. And, you know, it's going to be and I want to do non-UK stuff. I want to try out like some German, Swiss stuff as well. Like, why not? Let's just, you know, let's go fully international with it. Let's have a taste of what, like, you know, the Swiss drivers have be doing. And any recommendations or any sort of thing you want to see in terms with Train Sim Classic, do let me know in the comments. I will not be bringing back any sort of like request form. Shout outs will not become a thing again, because that was just like so much extra kind of admin and stuff to keep on top of with, and then it just became loads of people just commenting and be like, when's my shout out? I thought I was on the list, when am I, you know, gonna get shout out by QwertyAfro? And I was just, I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, it was a fun little kind of cool thing when I was like a lot smaller, but when you have like over 100 people asking when your shout out is, you wanna close your eyes and make it all go away. But maybe I wouldn't say no to doing something in the future where I do a bit more kind of like interactivity with like subscribers, potentially. I was actually emailed about this new live streaming site. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it. It's called Trovo, I think. And potentially you might see me stream there. I don't think I'm going to stream on Twitch anymore. I think that's something I don't want to do, or maybe stream on Twitch for like some like casual games or whatever. But I was thinking in terms of like streaming like simulation stuff, probably maybe do on YouTube or try out this new like streaming site Trovo whatever, and see if I could build up a little simulation sort of community on that site. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, but for now I'm more worried about, or more focused on, the videos and the content for the YouTube channel. Live streaming is definitely not like a priority or something I'm not even like contemplating of like, oh, when's a live stream schedule going to be posted, QWERTY? Like it won't be any of that kind of sort of thing like there was. Because let me tell you, like live streaming, fitting it into my sort of work schedule with shifts and stuff, it's doable, but I'm just the type of person that I like my free time a lot more, and I think doing a job like this, being a train driver, you do kind of appreciate your free time a lot more than like say in like other jobs where I didn't mind doing like live streaming and just, you know, doing that until I go to sleep, or you know, stuff like that, or just, you know, pumping out loads of content and recording loads of videos. Like it just kind of got to the point where like, you know, I like doing my job and coming home and then just, you know, shutting off and, you know, relaxing and just enjoying my own time, whether it be like playing other sort of like casual games like Genshin Impact. Gotta say it again, I don't know how I've fallen down the gacha system of games with Genshin, but I've done it. I'm not ashamed of it. I do enjoy the game a lot. I know what it is. I know it's a grind fest of a game. It has eaten a bit into my wallet, but I think that's the whole sort of experience with it. I'm not too bothered about it. I do enjoy playing it, and I think if you do enjoy playing any sort of like free-to-play game and you put in a good amount of hours, and if you want to spend a bit of money on it, yeah, go ahead. Why not? To be honest, at this point, Train Sim is sort of like free to play, and then the rest is just all kind of like DLCs and stuff that you get. So, which I don't understand why they probably could technically do that with Train Sim World or even Train Sim Classic. They could just release it free with like a base set of routes, and then people could just try that, get into that, and then if they fancy adding more, they can, you know, get some DLCs on sale or whatever. This is very comfortable, I have to say, just cruising around here at 125. Can I put a speed set like that? Oh no. Well, as soon as I put a speed set, there's a permissible speed change coming up, which is excellent. I was just nicely going to sit back, tap on the speed change, and just leave it to like cruise at 125, but then obviously I think this is a junction or something, not too sure. No, we're coming to flipping rugby. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, so TAS will actually intervene at that sort of speed. if it was like, no, you're going way too fast. Oh, I see. Well, I've learned something new today. I have learned something new today. Can I just take power? Yeah, I can. Okay. Well, it wouldn't be a QwertyAfro video without something funky going wrong and having... Would that be a... No, that wouldn't be a TPWS intervention. That's a TAS. That's a TAS intervention. So like TAS thinks I'm going too fast. But then that would be more like a TPWS. I don't know what system here would supersede what system. Does TPWS supersede TAS or does TAS supersede TPWS? I guess if it's like supervised, then I guess it's TAS. It's an interesting system. Is basically what I want to say. And it was nice to see it. It works, and yeah, I definitely was going there a little too fast. But then I'm just looking down at the map. I'm just looking down at the map and thinking, oh, how far am I? Oh, that seems about a good place to brake. Obviously, I do not know, like, visually, or, like, my route knowledge in train sim is not the best. And for me, all about driving a train well is just having insane route knowledge. Which, if I knew the route, it would be, like, a piece of cake. And this is also another idea that I want to do, potentially with Train Sim World and maybe Train Sim Classic, is do... There's not much... So in terms of the routes I only drive like on the Great Eastern from Liverpool Street to Shenfield, and on the Great Western from Reading to Paddington, and then the new sort of Crossrail Elizabeth Line purple train bit, which obviously is not in the game. I could essentially do like a sort of driver guide of how to drive, say, like a 315 from Liverpool Street to Shenfield and back, or I could do like in a 387 or in a 360. I could do something on the Great Western. Potentially, those are ideas. Obviously not on the West Coast, because obviously I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm activating TAS for fun. As we now approach Rugby, our final calling station, before we have a nice, hopefully long and uninterrupted run to London Euston. And I actually really want to see how my PC actually handles Euston, or like handles a station with like a lot of detail and a lot of like assets. But so far for Rugby, it seems it's doing very well. That's a very close signal and stopping marker. Like, that's really, really close. That's either, I think that stopping marker should be like a little bit more back, or the signal should be a little bit more forward, because that's very like, it's very close to the actual starting signal. But then again, I've kind of overshot a little bit here by like half a meter. Now Rugby, I do believe was this was in Trent Valley. Yeah, Trent Valley, from Rugby to somewhere up in the Trent Valley. I don't know, can't remember the routes. We should have no traffic as far as Wolverton. However, Network Rail has a track speed restriction posted for maintenance off the right of way about 9 miles before Wolverton Station. Be on the lookout for the temporary speed restriction warning about a mile before the track speed reduction. Wait for the signal to clear. Once cleared, you may depart at track speed. Well, it was already green because I've already sort of like passed it and it's gone red. So that's that is fine. Okay, alarm's going off without me even seeing it like visually outside the cab. Right, I have no idea where Wolverton is. I literally have no clue. I think it is it? Well, I think it's somewhere between here and Milton Keynes, I'd presume. But we'll find out. Like, look, this is just all, we're just discovering. And I'm good with discovering that. That's fine. I didn't give a little bell to my train manager. The train manager must have thought, what the hell is going on? We stopped on the flyover. Like, did we have a spad? Did we have a, you know, did we crash into an obstruction? What happened? No, it was just TAS telling me off. And I think here would be so the slow lines go onto the left, and then it goes at some point down the line. It kind of verges off to Northampton, if that's right. Oh, but Samuel, like, this is just what am I doing? Like, oh, I don't know where Wolverton is, even though the HUD does tell you how many miles it is away, and I completely I'm not even looking at the actual miles or the next station information on the bottom left of the HUD, which is kind of a bit funny. Well, that means I can actually open up the tap if we're, like, you know, 28 miles away from Wolverton, from where the temporary speed restriction is going to be hitting, then great. But one thing is, did it tell me? Oh no, I can't even remember the information. I don't think it told me what the speed of the temporary speed reduction is. I would assume it's probably either like a 50 or a 30. Again, it might show me once I get nearer to it on the HUD. But to be honest, the route itself, and there's a neutral section, which does the line light go off? I guess it stays on, even though it says, oh, so it has an ADD activation, it'll be flashing. Oh, I see. For any of you that don't know, an ADD is an auto drop device. So that's like if something happens with a pantograph, it will basically automatically drop. Or if, say, there's no wire and the pantograph just keeps going up or whatever, you'd have an ADD activation or whatever. Then your pantograph is completely gone. Right, can I maybe get up to speed and do a speed set, potentially? Potentially, I want to do that. Or I think if I can remember, I have to get up to speed, but I don't coast and then put a speed set. Or do I just speed set it when it gets to a certain speed? Just completely forgotten how to do how to do anything with this Class 390 Pinolino, or anything really with Train Sim, because obviously I've not really played much of it. But I have to say, it's really nice in terms of playing it on this new PC. I'm very much so impressed with the quality, the smoothness. No rough around the edges anymore. No kind of loading in with the assets, causing any sort of freeze or whatever. I hope you're enjoying the quality of the video itself, because yeah, I can definitely feel the difference. I hope you guys can see the difference, which would be really Really nice to hear. Now, I can't remember, no, I don't think this TCMS had any sort of functionality or whatever. But... so with this unit... oh, so this unit, it just works with Q, which is kind of, I guess, similar to Train Sim World. Oh, okay, so... oh, it's not one of the sort of Armstrong Powerhouse or some of the traction that I'm used to in terms of DLC, where everything's sort of nicely scripted and coded up nicely, where you press E for the driver safety device, the vigilance device, and then you press, you know, Q for just the AWS. So okay, about 125. I believe this is the... oh, what motorway is this? I should know this. I think this is the M1. Yeah, I think it's the M1. Should be the M1. The M40 is more like that way. More towards like Leamington and like then Banbury. Yeah, that is definitely the M1. And we're doing some nice little bit of tilting. Which... to be honest, when I've been riding on these Pendolinos or whatever, I don't really notice, like, I notice when it tilts, but I don't get any sort of, like, nausea from it. I know there's people that do. But I'm gonna press speed set. Okay, so that's on. So if I now just put it into notch 3, it shouldn't go above the speed, right? Yes, I'm right. I'm good with this. I'm good with leaving it at 124 and just not doing anything rash. But I think one of the things, so there was an incident involving, I think it was with Lumo, with the Hitachi 800 train. I think it was 802 or 8. I think it's an 801. Because it's the I think it's the pure electric version. But basically, they had there was a incident with like an overspeed where I think it was with Lumo, or was no Lumo was with the points. I think it was Transpen. Whoa. And I completely just didn't even regard this 120 mph reduction there. That's fine, we'll just coast here, because we're going to go back up to 125. But I think, no, the incident was with Transpennine Express, I think, with one of their 800s, where there was like an overspeed to like 140 or something on one of the main lines. I can't remember, but there was an incident with Lumo, I think, with it going over the points at a high speed, I think somewhere near Peterborough. And then there was obviously... yeah, there was like some sort of overspeed with a Transpennine unit, and I think after that they've had to sort of, they're putting like limiters, I think, on 800 series trains, so like GWR 800s, LNR 800s, Transpennine, Lumo, Hull trains, all of their, I think all the whole sort of like Hitachi fleet now have to do a sort of kind of retrofit of like limiters that only limit, I think they limit them to 124 miles per hour because it's converted from like 200 kilometers per hour, I think. I might be wrong about that, but if anyone knows about it, do let me know, because I've seen some stuff online about it, and heard some stuff in the industry as well, because, you know. Right, so I'm gonna maybe pay a slight bit more attention to what I'm doing, you know, abide at some of the speed changes that are coming up that I'm just completely, like, literally my eyes are not even focused like down here on the screen or looking at any of the sort of numerical information. I'm literally just looking like at the, just like on the sort of eye line here of the dashboard. That's where I'm like sort of looking. I'm not even looking like at the views or whatever. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, looking at the rails or just like the base of the the wipers for some reason. There we go. Okay, speed set 124, no speed changes for a good while. We are 13 miles away from Wolverhampton, which is nice. And so we're going via the Wolverton up. So I'm guessing that is, what station is that? I'm trying to visually like recall what state. Like, does it have like a? No, it just has like fast platforms and a slow platform. But we'll see when we get to it. I'm pretty sure that's when the slow Northampton line kind of like comes in, and then Wolverton is somewhere between when it becomes like a 4-track railway. It's somewhere between Milton Keynes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's somewhere between Milton Keynes and Northampton. Well, it has to be Wolverton. But yeah, this is so foreign to me in terms of driving long distance like this, where you're not really like stopping anywhere. You're just, you know, having to concentrate at like maintaining speeds, looking at like signals, and that's it. Right, I'm gonna start slowing down. Oh, it's 30 miles per hour. Okay, cool. So I think this is about a good. This is a good sort of place to start slowing down. We're about 1 1/3 miles away from the actual temporary speed restriction. So with a temporary speed restriction, this has been set up. Okay, there's the it's an emergency speed restriction, because you saw that black and yellow chevron looking board, or Dalek kind of looking board. That indicates it's an emergency speed restriction. So that's been essentially erected up like whenever the defect with the track has been, you know, located, and it might not be initially published in whatever publication to like let drivers know. So this would be like something where the signal would inform of a emergency speed restriction that's like actually been laid up, or if it can just be left for days, even months sometimes, as an emergency speed restriction. But really it should then turn into a temporary speed restriction, where you get rid of that sort of Dalek looking chevron board, and you then just have like a normal kind of like repeater board, and then your speed commencement board or whatever. And there you go, you can see it. And I don't know why it has a red halo light. Ah. Track workers with some PPE, high visors, and a spade. That's not the weirdest thing I've seen on the railway side, but there we go. And that would be the termination board. So yeah, when it becomes a temporary speed restriction, you basically get rid of the sort of that Dalek looking board, and you just have like an approach, like a warning board, and then like a repeater board, like at an end of a platform or somewhere where like another line would join to like remind like a driver that they're entering like a, you know, almost getting up to a temporary speed restriction. And then you would have that board with the indicated number of the speed that you should be doing, and then you have the T, which is just terminated, or like termination point off that speed restriction. And then there's this other board which is called a spate board. It's like speed previously advised terminated early, and that's basically put down if they don't want to clear up the boards, they'll just put another board to just be like, this speed restriction has been withdrawn, but we just can't be bothered to take out the like magnets and the other kind of signage, but we'll just put this board over one of, you know, the commencement or the warning board at the beginning, just to say like, don't ignore it. There'll be like other publications attached to it that will say, oh, this speed restriction has been withdrawn, you don't have to like acknowledge it. Or they even say sometimes that this spate board would be, you know, put in place, or, you know. Yeah, there's quite a lot of rules in terms of like knowing in the sort of like railways, and in terms of just like rules like even like that with emergency speed restrictions, temporary speed restrictions. But if you guys would like to know any sort of like, want me to elaborate into any sort of like knowledge, you know, do let me know, because I am an encyclopedia of railway knowledge essentially. Well, I used to be sort of like, had like basic knowledge. Now I have the knowledge. I've just, you know, done a big 5-head play and just became a train driver, and now on the channel essentially, you know, it's you know, it's 5-head play. Like, oh, are we getting crossed over to the slows? Now this is something I hate. I hate when this happens in real life. Like, say in the evening, normally I come back down in the evening, back down to Euston. I absolutely hate when they cross over a fast service onto the slow, and then you follow a stopping service from, essentially from, it's normally around here, like Milton Keynes. You get to Milton Keynes, you cross, I think at this actual junction. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called, no, I'm not gonna attempt to, it's something crossing or some, I'm not too sure. But as soon as we cross here and then you're following a slow train, it's just painful when you just want to get home at night, and it adds another like 25-30 minutes to your journey, because obviously you're not going at 125 miles per hour anymore, you're going at 100 or 90 miles per hour, whatever the slow line speed is, plus you have that annoying stopping service in front of you. So right, lowered down to 70 miles per hour. This is crossing speed. We have junction indicator 1. Might have a name of the crossing somewhere here. No. Oh, I think it's, what is it called? Is it like New Haven Crossing? No, like I'm just making this up. I know, I've read the, I should know the name of it because I've seen it like somewhere. Well, someone will let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much in advance. Right. Nice little slow service here waiting for me to cross. And now, obviously we're not stopping anywhere, so now essentially we're just on the slow line. And we can do a max of, I'm guessing 100 it will be soon. Which is still not slow, but there is definitely a difference between like 100 and 125. And you might think Sam, you might think QwertyAfro, like, really, that's just what, 25 miles per hour? That's nothing. Let me tell you, it definitely is something. Because I can for a good like measure or something like that, I can tell you visually what it looks like. Because when I drive, say I drive class 345s, and the fastest area that I can drive these trains is normally between Twyford and Maidenhead, or Maidenhead and Twyford. That's like one of the longest like stretches of just continuous driving on my route that I do. And the max speed of these units, and also the line speed of the slow lines, the relief lines as they're called, is 90 miles per hour. Now I could be I'll maintain 90 miles per hour. Wait, what's happening here? We have a double yellow. Are we crossing back potentially? Oh, we might be crossing back. That'd be really good. But essentially, I'll be coasting or maintaining 90 miles per hour in this section, and I feel like I'm going fast. And then you would have a 387 a GWR 387 that can go up to, on the mains, that can go up to 110 miles per hour, and as this is now we're talking at 110 miles per hour compared to 90, which is only what, 20 miles per hour more. That will literally feel like it's like a kind of, the best way to kind of visualize it is that you're walking and then a car at 30 miles per hour is just kind of like driving past you. It's not like fast, but it moves, like it passes in, it leaves you, and that happens at, like, you know, with a 387 going at 110 and me just going at 90. Why am I slowing down? Oh no, wait. It wasn't a flashing sequence, so the route is not set. So I should expect the red. But then when a 800 that's going 125 miles per hour passes me, now that's like, now we're talking a 35 mile per hour difference, and that you definitely feel to a 20 mile per hour difference. I'm telling you that right now, that it is, you'll see that thing zoom past. It's already going really fast, but like a 35 mile per hour difference is it's noticeable. I can tell you that. Right, so we are coming to a red because I saw the banner repeater was on. And this is Wolverton Station. And we have 52 miles of hopefully 125 mile per hour working. I like how this scenario said it was like, it was what, 50, I think it was like averaged it at 55 minutes. Should be interesting to do. Wonder how fast we can do this. 52 miles. This is gonna be a nice long video for you guys. We will hold here until the right of way is clear ahead. You've successfully completed the first part of the assignment trip without excessive speeding. No, is this the first part? Oh no, this is only part one. I wondered why. I was like, oh, we're getting to like sort of like, well, we're sort of like over the hour mark, but okay, I see. Well, I actually, that was good. I enjoyed that for part one. That was actually really cool. We did a nice drive, and I genuinely thought we were going to just go straight all the way to Euston. I was ready for that. I was ready to do those 52 miles, but I guess, I don't know if you guys would like to see me continue with this series, with this like scenario series by jbfried. That's available in the workshop. I'll leave the link down below for this part one, but if you would want me to continue with it on the channel, do let me know in the comments down below. I wouldn't mind continuing it. I did enjoy it. It was a nice kind of run, nice little bit of variation there with the temporary speed, well, emergency speed restriction, and the, you know, using the junctions and crossing to the slow, and the traffic and the freight. It was a good amount of freight, good amount of 350s and stuff. It was actually a really enjoyable kind of like scenario and little drive to get back into the swing of things with Train Sim Classic. I really do hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I didn't waffle on too much, and I hope you don't judge my my driving in terms of getting a TAS activation. But you know what? It was, you know, I'm glad like I experienced it. It was great, and yeah, like the TAS definitely does work. I can confirm. But anyway, guys, I hope, as I said, you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy my little comeback on the channel. Feel free to comment down below, start a conversation. Let me know for any sort of suggestions you have you want to see on the channel in terms of like the games I play, maybe other games, who knows. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a good day. I will see you in another video. Don't know what that will be. I don't know. I've recorded actually quite a lot of videos, so it's unusual for me to be like, oh well, I'll see you probably soon in another video. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.